In the present video, we will discuss RAID impact on disk performance. Suppose 4 disks are used for data and 1 is used for parity. The parity P at the controller is calculated as follows. The parity EP is equal to E1 XOR operation with E2, XOR operation with E3, XOR operation with E4. Here D1 to D4 is stripped data across the RAID group of 5 disks. Whenever the controller performs a write IO, parity must be computed by reading the old parity EP old and the old data E4 old from the disk, which means that 2 read IO operation. Suppose if you want to write the data or if you want to modify the data, in such instance initially we have to perform 2 read operations. So the first read operation is to read the data, that means the old data E4 old, and one more read operation in order to read the old parity EP old. The new parity EP new is computed as follows. EP new is equal to EP old minus E4 old plus E4 new, that is plus means XOR operation. So we can compute the new parity. Whenever new write comes into the disk. So for example, here we are having 4 disks. We are having 5 disks and the data is stripped across different disks. And the parity is computed like AP, BP, CP, DP and so on. So suppose here for the first disk, so initially we are having the RAID controller. The RAID controller has the value of EP old, and initially the RAID controller will read EP old as well as E4 old data. After reading these two data, it will compute the new parity. We are having the data, new data as E4 new. So this particular block has been changed now. So in order to perform the write operation into the disk, initially the RAID controller will read EP old and E4 old data. So after that it will compute the new parity value with respect to the old parity as well as old data along with the new data. How I can compute the new parity? EP new is equal to EP old minus E4 old plus E4 new. So after computing the parity EP new, once again the RAID controller will perform 2 write operations onto the disk. So the RAID controller will write the new data as well as new parity. So whenever any write operation comes into the disk, at that instant the RAID controller will perform 2 read operations as well as 2 write operations. 2 read operation is in order to read EP old and E4 old. Write operations are nothing but in order to write E4 new as well as EP new. After computing the new parity, the controller completes the write IO by writing the new data and the new parity onto the disk. Therefore, the controller performs 2 disk reads and 2 disk writes for every write operation, and write penalty in RAID 5 implementation is 5. In RAID 6, which maintains dual parity, so the disk write requires 3 read and 3 write operation. So one is for EP1 and EP2. So we are having 2 parities like EP1 and EP2. So if you are having 2 parities in the case of RAID 6, that means dual parity, we have to perform 3 read operations in order to read EP1 old, EP2 old and E4 old. After computing EP1 new, EP2 new, the controller will perform write operations. So there are total 3 write operations need to be considered, like the RAID controller will write EP1 new, EP2 new and E4 new onto the disk. Therefore, the RAID 6 implementation, the controller performs 6 IO operations. 3 read and 3 write operations. Therefore, write penalty in the case of RAID 6 is 6. So this table is very important. We are having different RAID levels like RAID 0, RAID 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, RAID 3, 4, 5 and 6. For all the cases or for all the levels, read penalty is 1. But there is a slight modifications with respect to the write penalty. For RAID 0, 1, 0, 1 and 1, 0, the write penalty is 1 and 2 respectively. And in the case of RAID 3, penalty is 4, RAID 4, penalty is 4, once again for RAID 5, penalty is 4 and RAID 6, penalty is 6. So we'll take one simple example. Consider an application that generates 5200 IOPS with 60% of them being reads. So that means rest 40% will be write operation. The disk load in RAID 5 is calculated as follows. The disk load is equal to 60% of 5200 will be read and 40% of 5200 will be write operation. But we have to consider the write penalty. So that means 0.6 into 5200 plus write penalty into 40% of 5200. You will get the value as 11,440 IOPS, input output per second. The disk load in RAID 1 is calculated as, similarly for RAID 1, what is the write penalty? Write penalty is 2. So 0.6 into 5200 plus write penalty into 40% of 5200. So you will get 7280 as IOPS. After that, once again we can calculate the number of disks with respect to RAID 5 and RAID 1, assuming the total number of IOPS. The maximum IOPS in the for the application will be around 180. After assuming the maximum 180 IOPS for the application need to be used, so we can compute the number of disks required. For RAID 5, we are having IOPS calculated was around 11,440 divided by maximum IOPS, that is 180. So you will get 64 disks. Similarly for RAID 1, the IOPS computed was around 7280 divided by 180 IOPS, will get 42 disks. So next is component of an intelligent storage system. So an IO request received from the host at the front end port is processed through cache and backend to enable storage and retrieval of data from the physical disk. The major components of intelligent storage systems are front end, cache, backend and physical disk. So the intelligent storage system major components are front end, cache, backend and the physical disk. So the IO request will be received from the host through the front end. It will be processed through the cache. Finally, the data it will enable the retrieval or storage of data on the physical disk. Front end. So the front end provides the interface between the storage system and the host. So front end is it will provide an interface between the storage system and the host. It consisting of two components, front end port and front end controller. The front end port enables host to connect to the intelligent storage system. Front end port has processing logic that executes the appropriate transport protocols such as SCSI, Fiber Channel or iSCSI for storage connections. So the major responsibility of front end is to provide an interface between the storage system and the host. Front end command queuing. Command queuing is a technique implemented on front end controller. It determines the execution order in which the commands can be executed. When a command is received for execution, the command queuing algorithm assigns a tag that defines a sequence in which commands should be executed. So we are having two algorithms like first in first out and seek time optimization. So first in first out means it's the default algorithm where commands are executed in the order in which they are received. There is no reordering of request for optimization. Therefore, it is inefficient in terms of performance. The next one is seek time optimization. Commands are executed based on optimizing read bar write head movement. So here we'll use optimization concept. We will optimize read and write head movement. Depending upon that, the commands can be executed. So we can consider without optimization, that is first in first out. So whatever the order those commands are arrived, A, B, C, D, in the same order the commands are executed. I/O processing, it will be executed. For example, here in the diagram, if you are using the seek time optimization, suppose I'll execute after A, I need to execute C. So now the I/O request arrived will be in the same order, A, B, C, D. In the same order the requests are arrived, but while processing, if you are using optimization concept, so we can observe that after execution of A, C is executed, after C, D is executed, after B, D is executed. So we considered optimization over here. So we as well as if C need to be executed before B, so I can execute after A, C can be executed, after that B, after that D. So I can say that the actual commands in the queue are A, B, C, D, but while executing we used optimization concept and we executed A, C, B, D. So this is an example for that. So next is access time optimization. Commands are executed based on combination of seek time optimization and an analysis of rotational latency for optimal performance. So we'll use rotational latency. Is a combination of seek time optimization and rotational latency. Access time optimization is nothing but the commands are executed by considering combination of seek time optimization and analysis of rotational latency.